We're going to move next to operations with integers through addition. Now, have you ever come across a place where uh, you were asked to solve a negative integer plus a positive integer? This is very important things that we have to what? We have to discover first before going through and solving what? Integer sum of integers. Now, the first one that we are going to deal with here is addition. Now, positive plus positive, we always give you what? Positive. Take for instance, when you have 5 plus 5, we give you what? You give me 10, right? You give us 10. And take for instance where we are asked to solve 8 plus 3. You give me what? You give me 11. That is what is called positive plus positive equals positive. 5 is a positive integer. And what? 5, the next 5 is what? Is a positive integer. And adding to what? Adding two positive integers will give us what? Will give us the total sum of what? Of integer. 8 is also an integer. And 3 is also an what? Is also an integer. And remember that we said that what? An integer is a whole number including what? Including 0. Either what? Negative or positive. So these are what? This is an example of what? Positive numbers. So guys, another operations that we're going to be dealing here is positive plus negative. Positive plus negative. Positive plus negative can either give you negative or positive numbers. I mean sum of negative numbers or sum of positive numbers. But how can we what? How can we solve this when we are having positive plus negative? It's very simple. The first thing that we have to notice is what? Is to subtract the smaller absolute value from the what? From the larger. And secondly, give the result the sign of the larger absolute value. If it is plus, if it is minus, are the same. Let's take for instance, we have 6 plus brackets minus 3 equals to what? In this place, we can see that 6 is positive, while minus 3 is what? Is negative. And the first thing that we have to what? To do to solve this kind of problem is what? Subtract the smaller absolute value. Where is the smaller absolute value? Is minus 3. From the what? From the larger what? From the larger number, which is this what? Which is this 6. Now let's do that one first. 6 minus 3 will give me what? Will give me 2. And secondly, give the result the sign of the larger absolute value. The sign of the larger absolute value is what? Is plus. Why? Because beside the 6 there is plus. That is why it is called what? Positive numbers. So we don't need to what? We don't need to add the sign. If you want to add the sign, you can, but it's advisable for you to what? For you to put it this way, because the 2 is already what? Positive signs. Another example we are going to be treating is 6 plus bracket 10 bracket close. Now this 10 is going to be negative, which is minus, then equals to 6 plus minus 10. Very simple. The first thing that we need to do is what? Subtract the smaller absolute value from the what? From the larger what? Larger value. And 6, 10 minus 6 will give me what? Will give me 4, right? That is 4. And secondly, and give the result the sign of the what? Of the larger absolute value. Where is the larger absolute value? It's 10, right? And the 10 is negative, which involve minus. So which means what? 4 will also be what? Will also be minus. Another examples that we can also what? Go through is 8 plus bracket minus 20 bracket close equals to what? Minus 20 is the larger value, right? And 20 minus 8 will give me what? Will give me 12. And the signs of the what? Of the larger value is what? Is 12. Is minus what? Minus 12. Do you understand it now? Let's do another last example so we can understand this aspect very well. Suppose you are having brackets minus 10, bracket close, plus 8. We give me what? It's still the same thing. Still what? Still the same thing. All you just do is to subtract the what? The smaller absolute value from the what? From the larger absolute value, and give the result the sign of the what? Of the larger absolute value. 10 minus 8 will give me 2. And which number is the biggest out of 10 and 8? It is 10. And 10 is also carrying a sign which is minus. So my final answer here is what? Is minus 2. Now, another operations that we're going to be discovering is negative plus negative. Now, remember the first one was positive plus positive. But now we are going to be treating negative plus negative. Now, one of the examples of negative that we have, that I want you to remember that integers are still numbers, including 0, which are either negative or positive numbers. But in this aspect, we're going to be treating negative numbers only. Now, negative numbers like minus 5, then let's add, then minus 6 equals to what? Now take for instance, you have 2% that you borrowed money from, and one of the person that you borrowed money from, you collected 5 naira, and the second person you collected minus 6. You collected 6 naira. Now adding everything together, we give you what? 11 naira, which means you have to pay a sum of what? 11 naira. But remember that you are still on what? You are still on debt. So that debt will signify what? Minus 11. That is your answer. Let's do another examples again, where we have minus 8. And remember, every negative numbers we always what? Involve in brackets. There's some ones that might not involve in brackets anyway. But for you to let your what? Solving very neat and understandable, you have to what? You have to involve bracket in it. Then plus minus 2 will give me what? You have 2% that you borrowed money from, which is 8 naira and 2 naira. Adding it together will give me what? 10. But you are still on debt, remember. So which means it's going to be what? Minus 10. That is your answer.